We're back. We're back. Sorry about that, fellas. So the IG chat goes out after an hour, and then something pops up on the screen, and producer Brad clicked the wrong button, so the stream ended. But hopefully we can get some people back in here because we got to talk about some fight announcements. Let's just wait to see if we can get some people back in here. Because that sucked. We were on a roll. We were on an absolute roll. Is it the same link, Brad? Okay. Let's just give some people some time before we start jumping into stuff. There we go. We're coming back. Sorry about that, fellas. The chat or the live ended prematurely. Guess they didn't want us to talk about the fight announcements. We recapped the UFC 300. We were basically done with the recap for UFC 300. So let's talk about some fight announcements. Number 1, Islam versus Poirier, June 1st. Is there any chance Dustin Poirier pulls it off? Because Islam opened as a minus 600 favorite. Let's be honest. It's not like Poirier beat some world beater in Benoit Saint-Denis to deserve the title shot. Now, I'm not saying Poirier don't deserve the title shot. But it is a much different fight than Islam's a much different opponent than Benoit Saint-Denis. And I'm not going to count out Poirier because I know Poirier can beat Islam, but I just don't know that he's going to. I think Islam's way too technical, way too calculated. I don't know that Poirier is going to be able to touch him up. As far as a path to victory for Poirier, obviously got to keep the fight on the ground. Or not on the ground. Keep the fight on the feet. Doesn't want to hit the ground. And if Islam shoots a takedown, Dustin Poirier better not be pulling guilty. I know he's going to. But if he does that, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. If it's not working on Benoit Saint-Denis, what up, Scope Goat? How we doing? We're back. Sorry that shit cut off. Producer hit a wrong button and ended the stream after the IG. What's up, brother? What's up, Daniel? Thanks for joining. Poirier, if the Gillies ain't working on Benoit Saint-Denis, it ain't going to work on Islam. And if he tries to pull Gilly on Islam, it's probably going to be stuck there for a while. And the difference between Islam and Benoit Saint-Denis, Islam ain't as sloppy. He ain't sloppy in the stand-up. He's not sloppy on the ground. It's way too calculated. I mean, for an early lean, I got to go with Islam. But I really hope Dustin Poirier can pull something out. Because that would be insane. Can you imagine Dustin Poirier going out there against Islam, knocking off Islam after losing by a head kick knockout to Justin Gaethje less than a year before? Like, let's not forget, Poirier got knocked out by Gaethje at the end of July last year. At that point, there's probably no shot in his head that he's getting a title shot. And now he's going to be getting a title shot in less than 12 months after that. You really don't want to see Dustin fight Islam? Are you a Dustin fan? Is that what you're saying? And you don't want to see him lose? Or what? Or maybe you just don't like the fight. What do you think, Scopegoat? Is it Scopegoat or Scapegoat? I got such shitty eyesight. I'm sorry, brother. Kobe O'Brien, another reminder that Ilya can knock out every 155er. You must be a big Ilya fan. And I'm not saying he can't, because the dude's got some massive power. But I'll be honest, it's a different type of power at 155. Different type of chins. I would be impressed if he could knock out Max. Let's just say that. Let alone a 55er. Good chance to beat Islam has only Topuria. You're saying Topuria is the only guy that has a good chance to beat Islam? Maybe. But this is going to be Islam's first real defense. Like his first title defense as a 155er. That's nuts. Like, he still hasn't defended his title against a real 155er. Both title defenses were against Volk. So this is a real 155er in Dustin Poirier. I just don't see. I don't think anybody beats Islam. I'll just keep it a buck. Like, I don't think you could put anybody in there to beat Islam. I think Islam's just so damn good. You think Islam round 1 or 2 sub is the move? Whew. I'm not going to lie. I think it's probably Islam late. I think Islam probably gets him out of there late. I think he takes an approach kind of like a Khabib approach. Stay safe early. That's when Dustin Poirier is going to be most dangerous. Feel him out on the feet. Maybe mixing a takedown. Keep him there. Control him. Position over submission type of stuff. Wear him down. Get it later in the fight. I think he finds probably a 3rd or 4th round finish. Probably by a submission as well. You DM'd Maddie to put 1K on Holloway round 5 KO a week ago? But he only checked your DM yesterday. Oh my God, bro. Bro, Udova, that's insane. That's insane. You know what's crazy? Udova, I texted Matt, I texted Matt the odds. So I literally have the text right here. I'll pull it up. I texted Matt the odds of Max Holloway's props for round 4 or 5 KO. This was Monday, April 8th. I texted him on Monday, April 8th. The odds for Max round 4 or 5 KO. And they were the odds that I got. Round 4 KO was plus 6,000. Round 5 KO was plus 7,500. I said, holy shit. He responded, haha. Bro, I was trying to tell him too. And I'm so shocked that he didn't do it. Because that's a classic Matty Betts round 4 or 5 KO at just absurd odds. I don't know how he didn't put that in. That's just... You sent me the screenshot? Thank you, bro. I want to see that. That's fucking nuts. Because if Matty Betts would have put 1,000 on that. If he was confident in it, he would have put 1,000 on that. He would have won 75 bands. 75 bands. Bro, he would have been absolutely nuts. He would have put 1,000 on that shit. He would have won 75 bands. You had the same bet as me, but you got plus 3,000 because you bet on Saturday. Okay. Hey, that's still good odds, bro. That's still a good come up. Plus 3,000 is good. But I saw that shit on Monday, and I'm like, there's no chance I am not playing this. Because I saw that fight the same way it went out. Like, I thought, not exactly. I thought Max would piece him up early, take over later in the fight, and Gaethje does seem to fade as far as taking damage goes. Like, we saw it against Alvarez. We saw it against Poirier. Like, he gets hit so much that eventually he just can't withstand getting hit that much. And Holloway fucking made him pay. It was nuts. Matt would have won 75 bands, bro. I tried to tell him. Back to the Islam Poirier fight. I don't think we really need to go over much than that. But I do believe Ahmed Sarukian will fight the winner, and I do believe the winner will be Islam Makhachev. I'll just keep it a buck. You put all your money on Jamal Hill because you believed his talking. Yeah. That's something, Scope Go, that's something that is tough to overcome. You can't really listen to fighters talk. You just can't. Unless it's something completely out of the ordinary. Like, of course the fighter's going to be confident. Of course the fighter's going to say all these things. They're trying to promote a fight. They're going to over-deliver on what they actually feel. A lot of people fall into that. Sometimes I fall into it too. But that's something you just can't do. You're in class. You're out. So I'll see you, brother. You take it easy. Thanks for joining. Dude, Ilya would beat John Jones because he's good at wrestling. What? Get out of here, bro. Let's move on. Strickland versus Costa. Sean Strickland is back to taking fights that mean absolutely nothing rankings-wise. Strickland has been that guy for a long time where he's taken these fights that don't mean anything for him. Like, they don't make sense as far as rankings go. He was the guy. Sean Strickland was the guy that gave Alex Pereira the shot to fight a ranked opponent. Didn't work out well for him. He was also the guy that gave Abus Magomedov a shot to fight a guy in the rankings. That worked out well for him. And now he's fighting Paulo Costa, who's ranked. What is Paulo Costa ranked? Number 8? Number 7? Paulo Costa's ranked number 7. Sean Strickland's the number 1 contender, was just the champion, coming off a fight that was very close. Sean Strickland is now fighting Paulo Costa, who took a loss to the number 3 ranked Robert Whittaker. So this doesn't make sense at all, okay? Paulo Costa, ranked number 7, fought Robert Whittaker number 3. He loses to Robert Whittaker. And now Paulo Costa is ranked number 7, and he's fighting the number 1 contender, Sean Strickland. Nothing about that makes sense. There's no reason Sean Strickland should take this fight ranking-wise. He's just taking this fight for money. He must have got an absolute bag, because this fight does not make sense. Sean Strickland just wants money. He just wants money. He wants to get in there and scrap. I got to respect it, but at the same time, it's like, damn, Paulo Costa's getting an opportunity here, because he didn't beat Whittaker. He lost to Whittaker. Whittaker's lower in the rankings than Strickland, and now he gets to fight a guy ahead of Robert Whittaker after he lost. Like, it doesn't make sense. I would agree with you, Scope Goat. I would have loved to see Strickland versus Whittaker. It would have made a lot more sense rankings-wise. But I guess, the UFC wanted Whittaker versus Hamzat. I don't know why they just didn't make Paulo Costa versus Hamzat. Doesn't really make sense. Vic Ross, who do I like in the fight? That's a good question. Strickland opened up as a minus 215 favorite. I think that's probably for good reason. The fight is 5 rounds, I believe. Co-main event, 5-round co-main event, June 1st, Newark, New Jersey. 5 rounds, I would favor Sean Strickland. Because if he doesn't get knocked out in the first or the second, he's going to be there putting a pace on Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is going to be very explosive, very dangerous in the first, maybe the second round. But we saw in the Whittaker fight, once he starts to slow down, he's still dangerous. But that jab that Whittaker was hitting him with, Sean Strickland doesn't have quite as powerful of a jab. Doesn't have the explosiveness of a Robert Whittaker. But he's so good when he's just walking you down, 1-2-ing. That jab is so nasty. Like, it's weird to say a jab is so nasty, but Sean Strickland's jab is nasty. Like, there's no telegraph to it. He throws so many of them. They're very economical. It doesn't take him a lot of energy to throw them. And I think over 5 rounds, I think Sean Strickland would win. If he can get out of the first or the second, that's when Costa's going to be most dangerous. So I would go with Sean Strickland. That's my early lean for that fight. And yeah, I think Sean Strickland is the rightful favorite, because this is a jump up for Paulo that's not really earned. Like, Strickland's the number 1 contender. Costa's just lost, and now he's getting a step up in competition. Doesn't really make sense. I'm going to go with Strickland for this one. Costa seems like he's scared to let his hands go. I mean, he was letting him go against Rob, but Rob was kind of making him pay a little bit. And yeah, he does tend to fade. I agree with you there, Vic. He does tend to fade. Just carries a ton of muscle. I think Strickland's got unbelievable cardio, unbelievable pace. Over 5 rounds, Strickland should probably take it. But what I'm more looking forward to is the lead up to the fight. Like, Strickland versus Costa, lead up to the fight is going to be nuts. And it's a much needed addition to that card, because you got Islam versus Poirier. They ain't going to be talking shit to each other. Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa, definitely going to be talking shit to each other. Like, Paulo's one of the funniest dudes around, and Strickland's one of the most out-of-pocket dudes around. So you know those boys are going to be throwing some shade both ways. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. Costa's power is overrated. I somewhat agree. Like, but he's still dangerous. Like, we're talking 4-ounce gloves. Paulo Costa hits hard. Like, Strickland doesn't hit as hard as Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa hits hard. But I do think his power is a little bit overrated. Like, he's not a guy he's not an Alex Pereira. Like, he hits you once and you're dead. Like, he hits hard, but he's not unbelievable type power. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's going to be funny. It's going to be super fucking funny. Round 1 or 2 is going to be nuts. Just because Paulo's going to be looking to put him out. And Sean Strickland's going to be there marching him down type of stuff. It should be a fun fight. I do like the fight. I just don't get it rankings-wise. It doesn't make sense that way. Let's move on to the final fight announcement. Conor versus Chandler. Conor McGregor is back. Officially. He is back. After what? What is that going to be? 2 or 3 years? It's going to be like 3 years. Am I thinking about that right? When was the last time he fought? Against Poirier, was that 2022 or 2021? Let me just make sure everything lines up. Conor McGregor. It was 2021. Bro, it's going to be almost 3 years. It's going to be almost 3 years since Conor fought. Like, bro, what are we thinking here? Like, on paper, it seems like Michael Chandler should beat him. But Michael Chandler just fights so wild. I'm like, Conor's going to be, he needs to be sharp and needs to be accurate. Because he can knock out Michael Chandler, but he's going to be off for 3 years. How is he going to look after that? How is he going to look after cycling all that stuff? How is he going to look after coming off the leg injury? How is he going to look after being in a movie? Like, there's so many unknowns with Conor at this point. It seems like Michael Chandler should win on paper. He's been the guy that's more active. He's always in the gym training. True professional. Dangerous guy. Got good wrestling. But he just doesn't fight smart. And the craziest part, so we were up in the lounge at UFC 300. I go to the bathroom, and I walk in. Michael Chandler's right there. Michael Chandler's in line in the bathroom. And I talked to him real briefly. He was about to go down to his seats on the floor, I believe. But, everybody was talking to him in the bathroom as well. Like, June 29th, is that going to happen? Chandler just kind of nodded his head, like kind of grin type of stuff. This was before the announcement. And then it's crazy that, like, I was talking to him the night that the fight got announced. It's just kind of weird because he must have known it, like, while we were all there. He must have known that this was going to get announced, but he couldn't say anything. People are asking him about it. He couldn't say anything. But yeah, Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor, it's going to go down June 29th. So they say, because we've been waiting for this announcement for a long time, and it is officially going to happen per Dana White. If I'm going to believe anybody, it's going to be Dana White. It's not going to be any other news source. It's not going to be Conor. I'm definitely not going to believe whatever Conor says. So we hear it from the mouth of Dana White. It's going to happen. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, June 29th, International Fight Week. 170 pounds. The betting odds right now are set as a pick'em. They don't know what the fuck's going to happen. The sports books are like, we don't know. That they're literally putting that out there and they're saying, we don't know. We're going to line this fight as a pick'em. We're going to let you guys decide. On paper, I think Michael Chandler should beat him, but something tells me Conor McGregor is going to be too sharp. It's going to be too accurate. Michael Chandler's not going to fight smart, and Conor McGregor is going to knock him out. And then we're going to see some weird stuff with Conor McGregor fighting for a title by the end of 2024. That's just that's the story we're in. That's the year that we're in. That's the sport we're in. If Conor McGregor can fight for a title by the end of 2024, this sport is just insane. Something tells me that. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. What is the chat thing? What do you think? Conor or Chandler? Daniel says Conor by TKO, calling it now. You're on the wavelength. You know Dana wants Conor to show out. Of course he does. Of course he does. You don't think if Conor McGregor beats Michael Chandler, his next fight is for a title. Let's just keep it a buck. This fight's going to be at 170. The fights at 170 ain't exactly the most pay-per-view sells. You got Leon Edwards, who's not the most exciting fighter. I love him. He's not the most exciting fighter. And you got Bilal ready to fight for the welterweight title. Can you imagine a world where Leon Edwards waits it out and gets to fight Conor McGregor and Bilal Muhammad doesn't get the title shot because Conor McGregor beats Michael Chandler? And then they're like, all right, Conor, title fight. Leon Edwards versus Conor McGregor. We want Conor in the title fight. Bilal's just sitting there like, oh my God, I am never getting this title shot, ever. Because Conor McGregor is now in my division and he just beat Michael Chandler. Wild stuff. That would be absolutely nuts. Chandler is just not interesting bum. Literally no name. Bro, Michael Chandler is one of the most exciting fighters when he gets into the cage. There's not many guys that I would rather watch than Michael Chandler, bro. That guy is pure violence. You watched his UFC fights? Dan Hooker, insane fight. Charles Oliveira, insane fight. Tony Ferguson punted his face off. Justin Gaethje, insane fight. Dustin Poirier, that fight was nuts. Bro, Michael Chandler is not in any fights that aren't exciting. And now he very easily could have been UFC champion. He had Charles on his knees in round 1. So he is very high level. It's just the fight IQ sometimes the chin fails him. He's very hittable. So Chandler's real game. And that's why I say on paper, Michael Chandler should win this fight. Something tells me Conor McGregor going to find that chin. Because Michael Chandler ain't going to fight smart. Chandler ain't going to be shooting takedowns. And Conor McGregor, he's still sharp, man. He's still sharp. Now, with the time off, the 3 years off, definitely going to play a factor, as well as the extracurricular activities that Conor McGregor has been in. But at the end of the day, something that never goes away is that power. And at 170, probably going to have a lot of power as well. And I know Michael Chandler is definitely going to take this fight serious. It's the biggest fight of his life. Maybe he doesn't fight as chaotic, but when he gets in that cage, I think he's going to be as chaotic as it comes. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you for rejoining the live. We could take on a few questions here before I wrap things up. But this Sunday Service episode was on my YouTube channel, Hayjivepicks. I don't know if that's going to continue or not. We had another live, our boy Clint, going on in the Home of Fight YouTube channel. So we went here. We're usually on Sundays, but was traveling back from Vegas on Sunday, so I wasn't able to do it then. It's Monday, so that's why there's a little bit of a clash in live. So that's why we're doing it here on the Hayjivepicks YouTube channel. But yeah, it's always fun to come on here and talk about all the fights. Yes, it is at 170. The Conor fight is at 170, so that is interesting as well. But yeah, let's wrap things up here. UFC 300 was absolutely nuts. That card, I think, is probably the best card in UFC history, if I had to put anything on it. Like, stacked from top to bottom, and what happened on the card was absolutely insane. So, best card in UFC history, in my opinion, and just 2 insane knockouts. Holloway, Pereira, unbelievable stuff. UFC is on fire right now, and I couldn't be happier for it. We got some great stuff going forward. So, appreciate y'all for joining. Sunday Service episode 7. And we'll be back here. Maybe we'll have one next week or not. We don't have a UFC card this weekend. But I don't know. Maybe we'll run something. Maybe we get some news. But stay tuned at Hayjivepicks on the medias. That's where you can be notified when we're going live for the Sunday Service. Appreciate y'all. Till next time, we out.